Good evening to all of you. Today, we are going to discuss e-way bill chapter, and it is very important chapter, practical exposure. Also, we will understand section 68, rule 138, 138A, B, C, D, and E. Before starting the provision, first, I like to show all of you what is the e-way bill. I like to show one actual document of e-way bill. So now you all can see in front of you. This is actual e-way bill. This is actual e-way bill. I will spend 2 minutes on this particular format and then we'll again go back to the provision. E-way bill can be generated by outward supply or inward supply. It means even supplier can generate the e-way bill or recipient can generate the e-way bill. Subtype, it means after selecting the type, I have to give the further subcategory, whether it is a supply or export or job worker or SKD or CKD condition, etc. Then we need to mention the document number. It can be delivery challan, it can be e-way bill. In the e-way bill, it can be delivery challan, it can be tax invoice, it can be bill of supply or bill of entry, document number, document date. Then you are selecting the transaction type. Here we will discuss the bill to ship to model as well. What is the concept of bill to ship to model? Mahadev, I hope it is okay now. Mahadev, I hope it is okay. Kindly confirm. Then you are writing the name of the billing to or bill from or bill to party and also their address. See, here you are writing the name, who is raising the bill, who is the recipient of the transaction, goods from where it is dispatching, and goods where it is to be delivered. It means in normal circumstances, I can say it is the supplier, it is the recipient, it is the picking location, and it is the delivery location. Here we will discuss the bill to ship to model, bill to ship to model. Then we are giving the details of the item, HSN code, taxes, then transporter detail. Here transporter ID and also the distance is being calculated from pin to location, from pin from and pin to location. So based on the distance, the validity, you can change plus minus, you can change a little bit approximate distance and based on the distance, e-way bill ka validity is being calculated. The validity period will be calculated. Now in the mode, so now it is the part B. Please note in the e-way bill, there are two parts. Part A, you can say the supplier detail, recipient detail, document number, supply type, transaction type, tax amount, HSN code, etc. You have written distance, etc. And part B is talking about mode. By which mode the goods are being moving? Is it by road or by rail or by air or by ship? Is it a regular cargo or ODC cargo? So because ODC cargo and regular cargo, it has the impact on the validity period. It has impact on the validity period. So we will discuss what is the validity period and then vehicle number. So in the part A, majority of the detail you are entering. In the part B, you are entering the detail relating to the vehicle. Clear? And then you can submit it as the e-way bill. E-way bill looks like, let me show you how the e-way bill looks like. So this is practical exposure, nothing to do with the exam, but yes, you will have the more clarity in the provision when you see the e-way bill. This is the e-way bill which looks like when you generate the e-way bill. Now the first question, why the e-way bill is required? Now the first question, why the e-way bill is required? Normally we can say the e-way bill control the tax evasion, because prior to movement of the goods, e-way bill has to be generated, part A plus part B both. And once it is completed, then only you can move the goods from your location for sending the goods to the customer. So that prior to the moment you are putting the detail in the government portal, please be compare with the e-invoicing. E-invoicing, we are preparing the invoice in our accounting software, and then the details are being uploaded on the government portal to obtain the QR code embedded IRN number. But please note, e-way bill is completely generated, completely made on the government portal itself. It is not that you are preparing in your accounting software and then you are validating, etc. No. E-invoicing and e-way bill, this is the big difference. After e-way bill, there is a time limit also. We will discuss cancellation provision, all will discuss. Now we are moving to the again provision. You will have now more clarity and in understanding the provisions. So section 68 require, what is the main provision? Starting provision is the section 68, which says that government may require the person in charge of a conveyance carrying any consignment of the goods value exceeding such amount, that is normally 50,000. Normally 50,000. Specified, may be specified to carry within such document and such device. In case of the document, you can say that e-way bill supported by tax invoice or bill of supply or delivery challan or bill of entry, as the case may be. Such devices, they are talking about RFID devices, radio frequency devices. We'll discuss that part also. As may be prescribed, Rule 138 is the rule which we are going to discuss in detail. These are the two different documents. First, you will prepare the e-way bill. First, you will prepare the invoice. And if your aggregate turnover exceed 20 crore, we have discussed when the e-invoicing provision is applicable. So your document would be either invoice or e-invoice. But e-way bill would always be generated whenever the value is more than 50,000. So I can say that e-way bill would be the second document, e-invoicing would be the first document. E-invoice or invoice. Then you will generate the e-way bill. You can read the benefit and government website e-way bill gst.gov.in. What is the transporter ID? Let me open that government website as well. I like to show you one thing. So this is e-way bill government website. Only part which I like to explain, see on the registration. I need to register myself on the government website of the e-way bill, then only I can log in. First point, either I have the GST number. If I have the GST number, I will click on the first option, e-way bill registration. I will put my GST number and other details, and after that I will create my login. Second, if I am transporter and I am not registered person in the GST, if I am transporter and not registered in the GST, then the e-way bill website is giving the option to register on the e-way bill website. E-way bill website is giving the option to register the transporter even though they are not having the GST number. What is the benefit of such transporter? So that they can give the number they can give the number to their client for the transportation. So suppose Mr. A is a transporter. Mr. A is a transporter, is not registered. Whether he cannot do the business, he can do. Then how he will give the transporter ID? So the transporter ID, will be either GST number, if not registered. If the transporter is not registered, then he will register himself, he will enroll himself on the GST portal website and generate the 15-digit number, which is the trans ID, and will be given to the client. So I hope the difference is clear. The registered GST number, transporter, if having the GST number, then they can register on the e-way bill website on the e-way bill registration click. Second, if the transporter is not registered, so they will enroll in the government e-way bill website by clicking the enrollment for the transporter. This process, 15-digit number would be assigned to that unregistered transporter. So that 15-digit can be given to the client so that at least he can do and anyone can assign the e-way bill to him. And third is the e-way bill for citizen. In the Rule 138, we will discuss one point that even unregistered person can generate the e-way bill. How he can generate the e-way bill? The third option is e-way bill for citizen. Coming back to the provision. Unregistered transporter, once he enroll on the system, which is similar to the GST number, is based on the state, PAN, checksum digit, etc. This trans-in or transporter ID can be shared by the transporter with his client, who may enter this number while generating the e-way bill for assigning the goods for transportation. Now you may ask where the transporter ID would be entered. Just now we have discussed. Na? This is the e-way bill format. And the last field of the part A, see, transporter name and transporter ID. Kindly confirm all the concept of unregistered transporter or generation of the transporter ID is clear to all. Kindly confirm first that concept of the transporter ID, generation, enrollment on the e-way bill website, and how they will put or how their client will put is clear to all. Kindly confirm this part. I have one doubt from the last class in section. Surya, we will discuss 8:30. If you have the doubt on the previous class, we will discuss 8:30. Okay. Anyone has any doubt with respect to the transporter ID? We can discuss right now. Clear, na? Not clear. Sushil. First, transporter is not registered. Then he will use the option of enrollment of the transporter. If he registered, then he will definitely have the GST number now. So that GST number can be shared to their client. If not registered, then transporter will enroll on the e-way bill website. To generate the trans ID. So where there is option registration and second option enrollment for transport. So that number would be given to the client. Enrollment for transporter, that unregistered transporter will put the detail of PAN, address, etc. Then the e-way bill website will assign the 15-digit number. That 15-digit number is transporter ID, which unregistered person can give to their client so that they can add or they can assign the e-way bill while generating the e-way bill part A, they can put in the transporter ID. If registered person, then he cannot go to the e-way bill registration. He can go to the first option. Sushil, I hope it is clear. Now moving to the next part. Rule 138, we are starting the rule 138. Total 14 sub rule is there. We will discuss one by one in detail. Now the point is when e-waybill is required. One sub rule 1 is saying that when the movement of the goods having the consignment value exceed 50,000, it can be in relation to the supply for reason other than supply and due to the inward supply from unregistered person. They are saying movement can be in relation to the supply. Mr. A is supplying the goods to Mr. B, selling the goods to Mr. E. Mr. B, then there is a movement of the goods, then e-waybill is required. Suppose for reason other than supply, Mr. A is a principal sending the goods to the job worker. Is it a supply? Answer is no. In the tax invoice chapter, we have discussed. That it is not a supply. Then delivery challan would be used. So A principal sending the goods to the job worker. It is a movement of the goods, but it is not a supply. So do you need to generate the e-waybill? Answer is yes, if the value exceeds 50,000. Third, in case if supplier is unregistered and recipient is registered, then always recipient will generate the e-waybill. When the e-waybill is required, if value exceeds 50,000. What is the meaning of the value? We'll discuss in the bottom part. But there is a movement of the goods. If there is a movement of the goods, then you need to generate the e-waybill always if the value exceeds 50,000. The registered person who causes such movement of the goods shall furnish the part A. It is important to note that information is to be furnished prior to the commencement of movement of the goods and is to be issued whether the movement in relation to supply or for reason other than supply. We have discussed first need to select the supply type and then subtype, whether it is a supply for CKD condition, for job worker, for line sale, etc. Multiple sub option is there where you need to mention or where you need to select the appropriate reason for the movement of the goods. Correct? Who causes the movement of the goods? If the supplier is registered and undertake to transport the goods, then movement of the goods is caused by the supplier. If recipient arrange the transportation, the movement will be caused by the recipient. If the goods are supplied by unregistered supplier to registered, then it is a deeming provision. We can say it will be deemed that registered recipient is causing the movement and he has to generate the e-waybill. What is the meaning of value? What is the consignment value for the purpose of e-waybill? What is the meaning or what is the value, consignment value for the purpose of the e-waybill? Which you need to check. If it is exceed 50, need to generate the e-waybill. If it is not exceeding, not required. So first they are saying transaction value according to section 50 declared on the invoice or the bill of supply or the delivery challan as the case may be in respect of said consignment. Okay. Now please note, is it inclusive of tax or exclusive of tax? Let's say my taxable value is 48,000 and GST hypothetically I'm assuming 4,000. The value is 52,000. Which value is considered for the purpose of e-waybill? Is it taxable value or is it invoice value? Answer is including taxes invoice value. So if this is the consignment, we need to generate the e-waybill. Exclude the value of the exempt supplies of the goods where the invoice is issued in respect of the both exempt and taxable supplies of the goods. You remember, in the last class, we have discussed one rule 46 capital A. Can anybody tell me what is the rule 46 capital A? Can we generate the single document for exempted and taxable supplies both? Kindly give the answer. In the last tax invoice, we have discussed this provision. I need your answer that when we can generate a single document which is called invoice cum bill of supply. when invoice cum bill of supply can be generated, when invoice cum bill of the supply generated, if transaction is with B2C, registered to unregistered party, in that case, Rule 46 capital A allow us to make the document which is called as invoice cum bill of supply. Which is called as invoice cum bill of supply. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all the participants. Great answer. So, suppose invoice cum bill of supply, let's say 40,000 is the taxable value of goods, 8,000 is exempted value of goods, and 4,000 is the GST. Now, please tell me, what is the consignment value for the purpose of e-way bill in this example? Suppose if the taxable value of goods is 40,000, exempted value of the goods is 8,000, GST part is 4,000. Kindly tell me what would be the consignment value for the purpose of e-way bill? For the purpose of e-way bill, because we need to check if it is more than 50,000. If it is more than 50,000, we need to compulsory generate the e-way bill. If it is not exceeding, then we have the option. Answer is yes, this will be included. This will not be included. This will be included. So consignment value for the purpose of e-way bill is 44,000. Absolutely correct answer you have given. That now in this case, I can say mandatorily not required. Optionally, if you want, you can generate the e-way bill. As discussed in this earlier in this chapter, in case of the movement for the reason other than supply, then delivery challan would be the base document which is necessary for the purpose of generating the e-way bill. Let's read the question. Example: Bhanu Pratap shoe manufacturer registered in Punjab sold the shoes a retail seller in the Gujarat at a value 48,000 excluding GST. Want to send the consignment of the such shoes to Gujarat. Consignment value 56,640. 48 plus 18% I need to add the GST. Because the consignment value exceeds 50,000, I need to generate the e-way bill. So that is fine. Now, there are the two situations. There are the two situations when the value of the 50,000 will be ignored, meaning thereby mandatory e-way bill. It means even though value of the consignment is less than 50,000, then also e-way bill is required. First is interstate principal to the job worker. Please note interstate principal to the job worker. Now you may ask that, sir, why not intrastate? Please note one thing. You can write somewhere Rule 138 sub Rule 14 clause D. You can write Rule 138 sub Rule 14 clause D is giving the power to every state. Rule 138 sub Rule 14 clause D is giving the power to the state that they can fix the limit, they can specify the area where the e-way bill is not required. You might listen. I think you have heard that in the Bihar, the earlier exemption was 2 lakh. If the invoice value not exceed 2 lakh, e-way bill not required. In Delhi location, from where am I? In Delhi location, e-way bill is not required if the value does not exceed 1 lakh. In Rajasthan, there is no e-way bill required within the district movement. In Gujarat, might be there is another relaxation that no e-way bill for the job worker. Now the question is, even after the GST, is it possible that every state can change their rule? Even after the GST, is it possible that every state can change their rule? Answer is no, except the situation where the Central Act, CGST Act or the CGST rule giving the power to the state. Repeating the important point, be careful, be notice this point. In the registration chapter, I think you remember we have discussed that every state can enhance their limit from 20 to 40 in certain circumstances. Also in the registration chapter, we have discussed a special category state can enhance their limit from the 10 to 20 lakh. It means as of now, in the registration chapter and in the e-way bill chapter, there are the two provisions in the GST in which state has the power to make their own set of the rules on threshold limit and also their own limit for the purpose of e-way bill. Kindly confirm, is it clear? That why state has the different limit from rule 138, which we are discussing right now. Why the word interstate is written, not intrastate. So in the exam, please do not do the mistake of writing the intra. Your answer would be incorrect. If something is being asked that when the e-way bill is necessary to be generated, interstate transfer of the goods by principal to the job worker. And second is interstate transfer of handicraft goods. Interstate transfer of handicraft goods by a person exempt from obtaining the registration. Interstate transfer of handicraft goods by a person exempt from registration. Section 24, clause 1 and clause 2. Say, let's say clause 2 is talking about casual taxable person need to obtain the mandatory registration. In the registration chapter, we have discussed this notification 56 by 2018, which has been issued by using the power under section 23. By using the power under section 23, meaning thereby the casual taxable person is supplying the handicraft goods. Casual taxable person supplying the handicraft goods, but interstate, relax from mandatory registration by virtue of this notification. They need to take the registration only when the threshold limit is crossed. But at the same point of time, we have discussed in this notification, they have to mandatorily generate the e-way bill. They have to mandatorily generate the e-way bill. So what is the two requirement? When the e-way bill is mandatory, in case of the interstate transfer of the goods by the principal to the job worker, and second, interstate transfer of the handicraft goods by the person who is exempted from registration, like casual taxable person, he is required to take registration only when the threshold limit is crossed. Otherwise, we have discussed that interstate supplies of the goods is mandatory registration. If the goods is furniture with handicraft design, will the threshold of the 50,000 apply? See, what is the meaning of the handicraft goods, Bharat? This handicraft goods has one annexure. This notification has one annexure wherein they have given the list of the handicraft goods which are permitted. So you have to refer that list. If your transaction, if your goods is covered in that list, then I can say 50,000 ka limit is not applicable. Second point, if your transaction, whatever is there, is not covered in this particular list or is covered in the particular list. So accordingly, you understood, if it is covered, then you have to generate mandatorily e-way bill. If it is not covered, then limit of the 50,000 will apply. I hope it is clear. Now, what is the bill to ship to model? Try to understand with the help of this example. There is three party. Party A, Party B, and Party C. Suppose A has given the order to B. Let's say purchasing of 10,000 pieces of computer. Okay. Now B has to deliver the goods to A normally. Normally, assume that there are two parties. For the time being, assume there are two parties. A from Delhi, B from Maharashtra. A has given the order of 10,000 pieces laptop or 10,000 pieces of computers to B. B will deliver the goods to Delhi. He will raise the tax invoice by B to A. No problem. The place of the supply would be Delhi location. So I'm not reading the place of the supply right now. Suppose now A is giving the order to B, but he is giving the order only on the basis of the order received from C to A. So Mr. C has given the order to A of 10,000 laptop. Mr. C has given the order of the laptop of 10,000 quantity. A in turn has given the order to B. Now C is from Pune, B is from Mumbai, and A is from Delhi. Now you all tell me that B will deliver the goods to Delhi and then Delhi will send the goods to Pune. Is this way the movement would happen? Or the goods will directly move from Mumbai to Pune because it both are in Maharashtra and it is very near. How the movement of the goods will happen? First Mumbai to Delhi, then Delhi to Pune, or directly Mumbai to Pune? How the movement of the goods would be? Is it from Mumbai to Delhi and Delhi to Pune, or directly from Mumbai to Pune? Your point, your reply is second option, sir. Obviously second option, because there is unnecessary delay, transportation cost, timing, and last is possibility of the theft, damage, anything. So how the goods would be moved? From B to C directly. But can you tell me how many tax invoice would be there? Can you tell me in this transaction how many tax invoice would be there? How many tax invoice would be there? Can you tell me how many tax invoice would be there in this transaction? Tax invoice. The first tax invoice by B to A and second tax invoice by A to C. Am I right? Correct, no? There would be two tax invoice. There would be two tax invoice, but e-way bill would be one according to the movement of the goods. There would be one e-way bill because there is only one movement. So therefore, there is only one e-way bill. In case of the bill to ship to model, there would be two tax invoice, party B to A and party A to C. But how many e-way bill would be there? E-way bill would not be equal to the number of tax invoice, would be equal to the number of movement. If the movement is directly from Mumbai to Pune, one movement, so therefore there is only one e-way bill. There is only one e-way bill. In case of the bill to ship to model, there are two supplies are involved, and accordingly there are two tax invoice by B to A and A to C. But for the purpose of generating the e-way bill, the movement will be considered because there is only one movement. So e-way bill would be only one. Let's see how this invoice or how this e-way bill would be generated. Party B is raising the tax invoice to A. So suppose party B is raising the e-way bill. Party B is generating this e-way bill. Party B is generating this e-way bill. Once party B will log into the GST portal and he will click on the outward, automatically the B's GST number and B's address will come. Correct? Now, he has raised the tax invoice to A or C. Kindly confirm in the chat. Mr. B has raised the tax invoice to A or to C. Kindly confirm in the chat that B has raised the tax invoice to Mr. A or to Mr. C. To whom B has raised the tax invoice? The answer is A. When the GST number of A will be entered here, when the GST number of A will be entered, automatically A's address of Delhi will be populated. When the A GST number would be entered, automatically Delhi address will be populated. Now, what is the actual scenario? Whether the goods are going to Delhi? Answer is no. The goods are going to Pune. So in the transaction type, you need to change from regular, you need to change bill to ship to model. You have to change bill to ship to. Then if you will select the bill to ship to, this will allow you to edit. So B, here Mumbai address will come. Once you enter A, automatically the Delhi address will come, but from regular, you will select the bill to ship to model. You will select the bill to ship to model. And once you select the bill to ship to model, then you can edit and you will write the Pune address. So please see once again, the billing is raised to A, but the goods are not delivered at A location. Goods are shipped to any other location. So bill to one party, ship to another party. That is model called as bill to ship to model. Once again, I'm confirming there are two tax invoice, but e-way bill is according to the number of movement. And because in the bill to ship to model, number of movement is one, therefore the e-way bill is also one. Kindly confirm whether bill to ship to model is clear to all. Any doubt, kindly ask. I hope it is clear. If you have any doubt, kindly ask. Bill to ship to model is good. Now, information to be furnished in the e-way bill part A, what information is required to be added, and part B, which information to be given. I have opened the actual e-way bill and explained, so that is okay. Now leaving this part. Part B can be entered by the e-commerce operator or courier company or transporter or an authorization received or an authorization received from the consignor. Part A, even once the consignor enter all the detail in the a part A slip is generated which contains the temporary number. This slip can be shared with the transporter to enter the details of the part B and generate the e-way bill. See, one thing is clear. Please note one thing. See, part A and part B both has to be entered. Part A and part B both has to be entered. Both has to be entered, then only the goods can be moved. So now there is an option that you have entered the part A. You have entered the part A, and on your behalf, transporter, e-commerce operator, or courier company can enter the part B. No problem. E-way bill can be generated only after entering the data A, B, C. Anyone can generate the e-way bill under bill to ship to model? Yes. Gaurav, absolutely correct. Only the transaction type and the outward or inward. Suppose C is generating the e-way bill, then he can generate the e-way bill on the basis of the tax invoice issued by A. Obviously, all are permissible to generate the e-way bill. Sir, first B to A, then address of A auto-populated, then select bill to ship to, then edit the address to the actual recipient. Absolutely, Madhav. Absolutely correct understanding. No doubt about that. Correct. Gaurav, is it clear? Who is mandatorily required to generate the e-way bill? E-way bill is to be generated by the consigner or consignee himself if the transporter is being done in own or hired or by railway, by air or by vessel. If the goods are handed over to the transporter for transportation by road, E-way bill is generated by the transporter, where neither the consigner nor the consignee generate the E-way bill and value of the goods is more than 50, it shall be the responsibility of the transporter to generate the same. Suppose, see, it is the responsibility of the consigner or the consignee, or if they do both have not generated, in that case, it is the responsibility of the transporter to generate the E-way bill. When the goods are transported by a registered person, whether as a consigner or recipient as the consignee, so even if Mr. A is moving the goods in his own conveyance, then also E-way bill is required if the value is more than 50,000. So where the goods are transported by the registered party, whether as a consigner or as a consignee, whether in his own conveyance or hired or even public conveyance, by road, the said person has to generate the E-way bill by part A and part B both on the common portal. One question from Rekha: if the supplier is unregistered, then he will generate E-way bill enrollment for the transport. Then why recipient make E-way bill? Any one party. See, point one. If supplier is unregistered, then simply go to the rule 138 sub rule 1. Simply go to the rule 138 sub rule 1. If Mr. A is purchasing the goods from unregistered party, then who is responsible to generate the E-way bill? Due to inward supply from unregistered party, then it is the responsibility of the registered party. Therefore, if the supplier is unregistered, then he will not generate the E-way bill if the recipient is registered, because rule 138.1 has made it clear that if it is a purchase from unregistered, he is purchasing the goods from unregistered, or supplier is unregistered and recipient is registered, who will generate the E-way bill? The registered person will generate the E-way bill. One more thing. You have used the word that supplier will register as an enrollment for the transporter. No, Rekha. See, only the transporter will use that facility. Unregistered transporter will use the facility. If the supplier is unregistered, he cannot enroll for the transporter because he is not doing the transportation. Because that digit would be used in which location? The transporter ID. And one more thing, for your information, one more thing. Suppose I am taking the Rekha question once again, that suppose Mr. A is purchasing the goods from a party who is not registered. How he will generate the E-way bill? He will select inward. And once he select inward, automatically age, GST number and address will come. Suppose Mr. A is a customer purchasing the goods from unregistered party. He does not have the GST number. According to the rule 138.1, it is the responsibility of Mr. A, recipient, registered party, to generate the E-way bill. How he will generate the E-way bill? First, he will select the inward corresponding commercial invoice document number, and then he will enter. Automatically the bill to name will come because he has selected inward. So automatically in the two, A's name and GST number and address will come. Now in this part, he will write, let's say he is a Arun. Supplier is Arun, but he is not registered. So here he will write simply URP. If you click on this question mark, the E-way bill portal, once you log into the E-way bill portal, if party is registered, then write the GST number, whether it is a supplier or customer. If the party is unregistered, you have to write in the capital letter URP, it will be accepted. Rekha, I hope your question is clear. Kindly confirm. Where the option in the interface to opt for, as the case may be, where the one of the either party is unregistered, because the interface you just show your form. There is the option in the interface to opt for. Okay, fine. Query अगर answered हो जाती है तो kindly give the reply that it is clear, and if it is not clear you are ready to ask counter question. Multiple type of the question, multiple time you ask the question, I do not have any problem, and I will also not irritate it. Rest to be sure. Okay. Next part, information in the part A can be furnished. Sorry. Second point. Where the e-way bill is not generated by the registered person and goods are handed over to the transporter for transportation of goods by, then it is the responsibility. It is the responsibility of the transporter to add the detail. See, the registered person shall furnish the information relating to the transporter in the part B on the common portal, and e-way bill shall be generated by the transporter on the said portal on the basis of the information furnished by the registered person. Where the now see this is important. This is important. Where the goods are, now we are not talking about by road. Now we are not talking about by road, by rail, by air, or by vessel, means by ship. If the goods are transported by railway, by air, or by vessel, then what is the requirement to generate the e-way bill? Then e-way bill shall be generated by the registered person, being the supplier or the recipient, who shall either before or after the commencement of movement furnish the information in the part B, which transport document number, goods receipt number, or railway receipt number, or airway bill number, or bill of lading number on the common portal. Not clear. Try to understand with the help of example. Try to understand with the help of example. A need to send the goods to B by rail. Fine. So A has given the goods to the railway department. Fine. Now we all know that goods should be moved only after entering the part A plus part B both. But in this case, the part B is not required if the movement of the goods is by rail, by air, or by vessel. If the movement of the goods is by rail, by air, by vessel, the part B would be generated after the movement. See, normally we are saying part A and part B both has to be generated, added before the movement. This is an exception. If the goods are moved by rail, by air, or by vessel, you can add the part B after the movement of the goods, because the document number, railway receipt or airway docket number, will be given only the goods has been loaded. At that point of time, you are free to add the part B after movement but before delivery. They are specifically saying in case of railway, they are specifically saying in case of the railway, he has to ensure at the time of the delivery the completed e-way bill is being provided. There is no requirement to carry the e-way bill along with goods, but railway has to carry invoice of the delivery challan, as the case may be. Further, e-way bill generated for the moment is required to be produced at the time of delivery of the goods. Railway shall not deliver unless the complete e-way bill with part A plus part B is not being produced at the time of delivery. Yes. Can anyone tell me? If my aggregate turnover is below 20 crore, can I generate the e-invoicing optionally? If my aggregate turnover does not exceed 20 crore, can I generate e-invoicing on an optional basis? That mean if the recipient then automatically recipient. Yes, right, Pooja. I'm asking the question e-invoicing. I'm not asking the question e-way bill. If my turnover is less than 20 crore, can I generate the e-invoicing optionally? Answer is no. Answer is no. You can generate the e-invoicing. You can make the e-invoicing only when your aggregate turnover exceeds the limit prescribed. Otherwise, you cannot log into the e-invoice government portal. On voluntary basis, e-invoicing not permissible, but e-way bill is permissible. On voluntary basis, Rule 138 sub rule 3 says that if you like to generate the e-way bill registered person or the transporter at his option, generate and carry the e-way bill even if the value is less than 50,000. I hope it is very simple. Just compared with the e-invoice also. Now, where the movement is caused by unregistered person, either in his own conveyance or hired or through that he or the transporter at their option generate the e-way bill. Where the goods are supplied by unregistered to a recipient who is registered, we have discussed in the 138.1 also, and the movement shall be said to be caused by the recipient if the recipient is known at the time of commencement of movement of goods. If supplier is unregistered and recipient is registered, then it is the responsibility of the recipient to generate the e-way bill. Great. Where is it not mandatory to furnish the detail in part B? Now let's start. This is important. Again, it is an important. Suppose Mr. A, let's say from Delhi, location is ITO. Location is ITO. He is sending the goods to the transporter. He is sending the goods to the transporter. Let's say transporter is in Lakshmi Nagar. Let's say the transporter is in the Lakshmi Nagar. Now the transporter in the night, he will move the goods to the Jaipur, and ultimately the goods is going to be delivered at Mr. B, who is near to Jaipur, the location of the Mr. B Choma. Try to understand this example. I will explain two provision. First, proviso to the rule 138 sub rule 3. Second, proviso to the rule 138 sub rule 5. Which things I will explain. What point I am explaining right now? When the part B is become optional, or when the part B not required to be updated. Not required to be updated. These two things I am explaining right now. See, part A, we have discussed the multiple things, if invoice, GST number, supplier, customer address, etc. Plus the transportation detail in the part B. Okay. The both is being added, then it is called as e-way bill EWB01. Without part B, the document is not valid for movement. Without part B, document is not valid for movement. Now we are discussing that without part B, when it is valid. This is being given in 138.3 ka proviso. If you are sending, suppose Mr. A is sending the goods from his location to the transporter location, from his business place to the transporter business place. When the goods are going to the transporter business place, distance is within 50 kilometer, and if state are same, then A can move the goods without adding the part B detail. Mr. A can generate the e-way bill on the basis of the part A only. On the basis of the part A only. Part B become optional. You are not required to add the part B. Always remember, if part B is being relaxed by any reason, if part B is being relaxed by any provision, then this information which is normally optional, but become mandatory under Rule 138(3) का proviso. Repeating again. Try to understand and absorb this provision. We'll handle the question after that. Still, allow me 5 minutes. I will complete this part in one shot, incomplete. Then only I can discuss the question. I am repeating again. Normally, the part A and part B both has to be added. Then only it is valid for movement. That is called the e-way bill, and it is valid for movement. Is there any exception? Answer is yes. There is one exception. Rule 138 sub rule 3 का proviso. What says that if you are moving the goods from your business place to the transporter place, state are same and distance is 50 kilometer, then not to add, I am using the word add, and in next I will use the word update, because first time I am adding the information, first time I'm giving the information, so therefore I'm saying add, and next when I'm changing the part vehicle number, I will use the word update. Again listen, if the distance is within 50 kilometers, state are same from my place to the transporter place, I can use the relaxation not to add the part B. If I am using the relaxation not to add the part B, then the filled transporter ID, which is under option A, which is under part A, is become mandatory. Then this filled transporter ID, which is the last option, which is normally the optional, but if I am not adding the part B, it become mandatory. Is it clear to all? Kindly confirm. Rule 138 sub rule 3 is clear to all. राघवन आपका क्वेश्चन डिस्कस करता हूं, सुशील आपका क्वेश्चन भी डिस्कस करता हूं, 2 मिनट दीजिए, पहले मुझे इस पे कंफर्मेशन कर दीजिए कि ये रूल 138 सब रूल 3 का प्रोवाइजर इज क्लियर टू ऑल. रूल 138 सब रूल 3 का प्रोवाइजर इज क्लियर टू ऑल. Transportation for distance up to 50 kilometers within the state, then it is optional. From the place of the business to the transporter place. Fine. Now second part, let's see. Please explain the example again. Can you say again, Rafiq bhai? Clear? No problem. I'll repeat again. No problem. See, Mr. A is located in Delhi. Transporter is also located in Delhi. He is sending the goods to Mr. B at Chomu near to Jaipur. He is using the transporter, let's say Gati transporter, for delivering the goods to Chomu. But when he's sending the goods from his business place to the transporter place, if the distance is 50 kilometers, state are same, then part B is optional, not required to add. Why? Because of the proviso given to the 138(3). But in this case, the one field of the part A become mandatory, that is transporter ID. So if proper officer in between If he check the goods, then he will be able to understand that goods are going to the transporter and why the part B is not added because of that relaxation given in the proviso to 138.3. How he would be aware? Because transporter ID ka number is being given. Mahadev, yes. If part B is being relaxed because of the 138.3 ka proviso, then transporter ID become mandatory. So otherwise, I can say transporter GST number or transporter ID is optional, not required. Sakti and Bharat, kindly confirm. Now I am saying that let's say, fine, transporter is moving the goods to, ultimately is giving the goods at Jaipur, his main business place, then again that truck would be changed. Does it mean in normal circumstances transport ID is optional? Absolutely correct, Akash. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. If part B is relaxed, I hope it is clear, Mahadev. If part B is relaxed not मतलब optional है, relaxed completely नहीं है. If part B is relaxed, then this field become mandatory. So normally you can see here not there is no red star, but it become mandatory. Mahadev. So now let's say going back. Now let's say now at the end of the day, in the night, he is moving the goods, all the goods going to Jaipur by truck. So when he is moving the truck, then it is the responsibility of the transporter to add the part B. So now he cannot take the relaxation. Transporter cannot take the relaxation that he will not add the part B, sir. He has to add the part B. The relaxation was only from the business place to the transporter place. Now, document will not, it will be generated, Karthik. It will be generated only in the validity period. It will be written, it is not valid for moment, but it will be generated. He will be able to save the document. Mr. A will be able to save the document and take the print of that document. Only in the validity period it is written not valid for moment, and for which he has to given the proof that yes, because transporter ID is there, so it will be verified that yes, goods are being moved to the transporter. Now the part B has to be added. After adding the part B, the goods will be moved. Fine, no problem. Let's say the goods reached to Gurgaon and met with an accident. Now this transporter has sent the new truck, another truck. He has sent the another truck. So goods would be unloaded from the truck number 1 and now it will be loaded in the truck number 2. The transporter has to change the vehicle number given in the part B. Please note one thing. Part A information cannot be edited once it is entered. Information, vehicle number given in the part B can be updated multiple times during the validity. It can be updated multiple times during the validity. So truck met with an accident, vehicle is being chased. Yes, update the part B, change the vehicle number. Now the goods are moved from business place to the transporter place. So Mr. A has taken the relaxation not to add the part B. Fine. Transporter within the state, distance 50 kilometer, and from business place to the transporter place. Okay. Now the transporter is moving the goods finally to the ultimate location, to the consignee. He has to give the details in the part B. He has to give the vehicle number 1 in the part B. Fine, no problem. Truck is being started. In between, truck met with an accident. Vehicle number will change. Yes. Update the part B. update the actual vehicle number, new vehicle number, another vehicle number. So what he will do in this case, he will add the vehicle number 2. Again, the goods will be moved. Suppose goods has been moved, goods has been reached to the Jaipur. Now I am talking the relaxation of rule 138 sub rule 5. Now I am talking about the relaxation of 138.5. Listen carefully. Now in the Jaipur, transporter has one office in the Jaipur, and now he will use mini truck, or he will use Chota Hathi, Tata 407, Tata 407. He will use small conveyance to deliver the goods to Mr. B, Mr. C, Mr. D, to whom it is belongs. This proviso says if distance is up to 50 kilometer and state are same, and from transporter place to actual consignee, then in that case, again, there is no requirement to update the part B. Again, there is no requirement to update the part B. I am not using the word add, I am using the word update. So these are the two relaxations. So I have given very long time to explain this, but it is written here so you can understand. From the place of the business of the transporter, finally to the place of the consignee. The logic is same, state and the distance are same, distance up to 50 kilometer and the location is within the state or UT. Part B can be amended multiple times during the validity. Part A cannot be amended. Once entered, you cannot edit. You have to delete. No delete, but you have to cancel. Suppose I have entered the wrong GST number, wrong document number, etc. You have to cancel that e-way bill. But part B, vehicle number can be changed multiple times during the validity period. If the goods are destroyed, then e-way bill is not required, sir. Destroyed in between, right? So when you start the movement, there is goods, correct? When you start the movement, there is goods. So you have to generate the e-way bill. Ultimately, the goods has not reached to the consignee. In between, it has been destroyed. So no matter, no problem. Only you have to reverse the ITC according to 17.5. Correct. This part, transport of the goods to the one consign, transfer of the goods from one consignment to the another. You have discussed this part. Fine, no problem. Assignment only 1 point. You can ask the question first. Let me take the question. Last example, again explain. Last example. According to the 138.5, see, the goods has reached the Jaipur location. Jaipur, there is a transporter location. So now the transporter is using the small vehicle. Again, the conveyance is changed. Correct? Now, so we have discussed, like in the accident, the conveyance is changed. Whether part B is required to be updated or not? Yes. Here, there is also change in the conveyance because the goods are coming from, let's say, big truck, and now it is being moved to the small truck, small conveyance. There is a change in the conveyance, but part B not required to update. If transporter to the ultimate consignee, state are same, distance is 50 kilometer, part B not required to update. Rafiq bhai, kindly confirm. The consigner or the recipient who has furnished the information in the part A or the transporter may assign the e-way bill number to the another registered or enrolled transporter for updating the information in part B. Hmm, 8.57. Wait, let me complete this assigning. The consigner or the recipient who has furnished the information in the part A or the transporter may assign the e-way bill to another registered or enrolled transporter for updating the information in the part B. However, suppose Mr. A has given the work to the let's say Gati transporter. Gati can assign to the another person also. But once the details of the conveyance has been updated in the part B, then after that it cannot be assigned to some another person. Information in the part A shall not be allowed to assign the e-way bill number to the another transporter. So we know that transporter ID is optional. Okay. You are sending the goods to the Gati transporter by using the Gati transporter number. Instead of the Gati, Gati can assign the work to another. Till what time he can assign? Till the time part B is not added. Once part B is added, then after that it cannot be assigned to any other transporter. Page number 8. Let me take 2-3 questions are there. 8.57. What does it mean? Where goods are transported by registered person. Supplier A and customer B. Transported by registered person means the movement is caused by the registered person. See, the person who is responsible for moving the goods is registered. Transported means by a registered person. Suppose A has purchased, Mr. A is a supplier and Mr. B is a customer. Either consignor or consignee, anyone is moving the goods. But means Mr. A is responsible for movement of the goods or Mr. B is responsible for movement of the goods. That is the meaning transported by registered person. The person who is causing the movement of the goods, that is registered. Obviously, the goods will be moved ultimately by the transporter. But the who is responsible for the movement? Either consignor or the consignee. Okay, either supplier or the recipient if the movement is caused by the registered person. First question का answer. भैया आकाश ने. Mahadev. Third condition is transporter to consignee. Which third condition? Transporter to consignee, right? So they are saying now, from the place of the business to the transporter, finally to the place of the business of the consignee. Distance are same. Sorry, same, but means 50 kilometer and state are same. Transporter and consignee state are same. Mahadev, kindly confirm. Raghavan, I think I have left your question earlier also. No? Let me check. When goods are transported through rail, it is said that part B need not to be added before the delivery. But what to add in the part B if not further transportation? See, I am sending the goods through rail. So I have to select the rail and in the docket number, I have to give the railway receipt number. I have to enter the railway receipt number. Now, timing to enter this part B normally prior to the movement. But in case of the rail, air, and ship, it is after the movement but before delivery. See, normally, if it is by road, prior to the movement of the goods, you have to add part A plus part B both. But they are saying in case of the rail, air, or ship, you can add this part B. What you will add in the part B? In the vehicle number, I will enter the railway receipt number, airway docket number, or ship or vessel docket number. I will enter that docket number. But when? After the moment, before delivery. Make sense? Is it clear, Raghav? Kindly confirm. Now, Raghavan, clear. What is the bill of lading in the part B? Bill of lading, it is by ship or by ship, if it is going by ship, by vessel. Here it is. One second. Okay, below the vehicle number, bill of lading number and date. If it is by air, then bill of lading number. Now, what is the consolidated e-way bill? Consolidated e-way bill, what does it mean? I'm asking the question, give me the answer. I'm asking the question, give me the answer. Suppose I am sending the goods. Mr. A is sending the goods to 3 customers in a single vehicle. To 3 different customers in a single vehicle, location are almost nearby. Can he generate the single e-way bill? Question number 1. Question number 2. Suppose there is a one tax invoice, but 3 vehicles is being used. Only one customer, goods are going to same customer. Is it only one e-way bill suffice? Kindly give me the answer in the question number 1. Is it okay that if I can make a consolidated one e-way bill? Or question number 2, can I make a single consolidated e-way bill? What credential transporter have to fill on the government portal to fill the part of the e-way bill? Just go to the enrollment of the transporter. He has to give the address, PAN number, Aadhaar card number, etc. If he is owning the truck, then truck card detail. If he's owning any location like godown or operator, then he has to give the address. Point to be noted that there is no concept of consolidated e-way bill for the supplier or for the recipient. Please note my word. There is no concept of consolidated e-way bill either in the hand of the supplier or in the hand of the recipient. What is that consolidated e-way bill then? It is a only time-saving tool in the hand of transporter. It is only time-saving tool in the hand of the transporter. The question number 1 and question number 2, I have to generate the multiple e-way bill. I cannot make single e-way bill. If my customer are 3, I have to generate 3 e-way bill. Or my customer is 1, but goods are going by 3 truck, I have to generate 3 e-way bill. Because simple reason, you can enter only one vehicle number in the part B and you can only enter one docket number in the part A. If the customer are 3, there would be 3 tax invoice. There would be 3 tax invoice. Yes. So 3 e-way bill. If 3 truck, 1 tax invoice, then yesterday, last class, we have discussed concept of SKD and CKD condition, semi-knockdown or complete knockdown condition. You remember? We need to prepare the delivery challan, and on the basis of the delivery challan, we need to prepare the e-way bill. That would be the. So what is the consolidated e-way bill? Now see, suppose Mr. A has sent the goods to Mr. B, to transporter, Gati transporter. Again, he has added the part A, not added the part B. Possible. So just now we have discussed Rule 138 sub Rule 3 ka proviso, giving the relaxation not to add the part B if goods are going from business place to the transporter 50 kilometers same state. Fine, no problem. A can add the part A and without giving the part B, he can give the goods to the Gati transporter. Fair enough. Now think about total 150 customer has reached to Gati transporter with part A. Now Gati transporter has to add the part B in every document. It's time-taking task. So what is the option given to the transporter? He can generate one consolidated e-way bill. Consolidation is with respect to part B. Consolidation is with respect to the vehicle number. So he will log into his portal. He will enter the vehicle number once and select all the part A EWB01. One printout would be there that is called EWB02 consolidated e-way bill. After e-way bill has been generated, where multiple consignment are intended to be transported in the single conveyance, the transporter may indicate the serial number of EWB generated in respect of each consignment electronically on the government portal, and consolidated e-way bill EWB02 may be generated by him. Single consignment, multiple order consignment. Bhupesh, point is not clear. Kindly ask again. What I'm saying, consolidation. So supplier or recipient cannot consolidate e-way bill. Now, the only consolidation possible is with respect to part B. So normally we know that suppose there are one tax invoice, one e-way bill is there, we have to add, transporter has to add the part B in that, and this type of the document need to be taken print out. But what is EWB02? Suppose there are multiple people has reached with their consignment and transporter has to add the part B in every consignment or in every EWB01, or we can generate the consolidated e-way bill, give the vehicle number only once and select all the part A which is being going on by the same truck. If 3 truck is used to supply the goods to single person with one invoice. Okay. Single vehicle consolidated. See, if there's a one second. So Rupesh, kindly ask the question in one shot instead of multiple line. I'm unable to understand your question, unable to correlate your multiple lines. So ask the question in the one line itself. Entire draft your question. I'm waiting. Even I will proceed further. Then also I will give the answer to your question. Give some time. Take completely write the questions and then send in one shot. Question I'm taking of Raghavan. If 3 truck is used to supply the goods to the single person with one vehicle, why can't proviso 138.5 can be invoked? What is the 138.5? Consignee, transporter to the consignee. So that is relaxation of the not adding the part B, is it? Not updating the part B. So 138.5 you are saying proviso. So why the proviso would be? See, there are 3 truck. You are saying the part B is not added. Fine. So entered in the, but sir, in the part name, if 3 truck is used to supply the goods to single person with one invoice, why can't proviso? See, proviso would be attracted only when the transporter is sending the goods to the consignee with the same state. Distance is up to 50 kilometers. Then he is relaxed for not adding the part B. He is relaxed not adding the part B, but at least first, when the consignment is started, when the truck is being started, he has to give the part B now and generate the e-way bill. Otherwise, there is no e-way bill. Question not clear, Raghavan. एक बार वापस पूछिए. Kindly ask once again. I'm saying 138.5 would be used, provided to 138.5 would be used when the goods are ultimately reached to the destination and now there change in the truck. Change in the truck, then there is no requirement to update the part B. I'm using the word update the part B. So first you have to add now. First you have to add the part B. So if there is 3 truck is being used, then how you can add all the three truck number in a single e-way bill? Taking the question meanwhile, Karthik Gupta, in part A, transporter number is entered. Fine. If the part B is not added, will it not be create the discrepancy inconsistency as per the part A transporter is sum? No. So there is no problem. There is no linking. There is no necessary linking that this truck has to be linked with the transporter only. See, part B and the last field of the part A, nowhere matching. So part A transporter ID need to be entered only when you are taking the benefit of the part B, not adding the part B. So that is one tool by which in between officer can get the confirmation that goods are actually moving to the transporter. So that is only for that purpose. Suppose truck is met with an accident, or just now we have discussed about the assignment. We can assign now. See, Gati transporter can assign to the Ravi transporter. Ravi transporter can assign to the Bablu transporter. So assignment is possible multiple times, and actual truck may not necessarily with the transporter ID. Not necessary that it pertain to the transporter ID. No linkage is required. Raghavan is still not clear. You may ask again. If it is not answered, then kindly ask again. Karthik, fine. No? Rupesh, still I'm trying to able to correlate your point, but not so. Bharat, so the transporter for each vehicle, how many goods are transported should be given at once. So now let's take a break of 7 minutes. Let's take a break of 7 minutes, and then we will start from here. A consolidated bill is completed. We will start from here. Fine. Thank you. So let's start again after the break. Uh, Rule 138 sub rule 8 says that information which you have submitted in a bill can be used for filing the GST return. So you can fetch the detail in the GSTR1. Cancellation. Here we are talking about 2 days. Two dates. One is 24 hours and second is 15 days. If part A and part B both has been added and you have generated the e-way bill, then it can be cancelled within 24 hours. As we discussed that you cannot edit any information. So you can cancel or you cannot edit the information given in the part A. You have the only choice to cancel, but cancellation is also within 24 hours. Then what is 15 days? Part A has been generated. You are moving the goods to the transporter because of the 138(3) ka proviso. And the part B can be added within a maximum days of 15. If not, then that part A will be archived, no use. Third, we are talking about 72 hours. If recipient like to reject that e-way bill, if recipient like to reject that e-way bill, he has the time limit of 72 hours. Now we are moving to the validity period. What is the valid? Now for validity, we need to divide the cargo is a normal cargo or regular cargo or ODC cargo. What is the meaning of ODC? Over dimensional cargo. See, if it is other than ODC cargo, we'll understand the meaning of ODC, but first understand what is the validity period. Up to 200 kilometer 1 day. If it is other than ODC cargo, or 1 day in case other than ODC cargo, or there is a multimodal shipment. What is the multimodal? So goods are going first by road, then by air, then by rail. At least one leg is shipped. So it is called multimodal. So the validity period would be 200 kilometer 1 day. For every additional 200 kilometer, one extra day would be given. Let's say, for example, the distance is 405 kilometer. Then this e-way bill would be valid for 3 days. For first 200 kilometer, 1 day, additional 200 kilometer, one extra day, and every additional 200 kilometer or any part thereof 500 kilometer would get also extra 1 day. So the total validity period will be 3 days. So now ODC cargo, instead of 200, they are saying 20 kilometer 1 day. 20 kilometer 1 day. What is the meaning of ODC cargo? ODC cargo means, let me see if it is in English. ODC cargo means cargo, single indivisible unit. Single indivisible unit. You are carrying, let's say, big plant and machinery in one truck, by which the weight, maximum weight given in the Motor Vehicle Act has been exceeded. But problem is that plant and machinery cannot be dismantled, cannot be divided in parts. Suppose there is a plant and machinery. In that case, you will add extra wheel and then carry in the same truck. So that will not be move in the normal speed. That is ODC cargo. The important word is single indivisible unit. If you are carrying one item which cannot be divided in multiple parts, it is compulsory that to carry in the one truck. Then by putting that, the overall weight of that vehicle is being exceeded, then that cargo is called as ODC cargo. That cargo is called as ODC cargo. And for ODC cargo, the limit is 20 kilometer 1 day. Please do not understand that by this provision, the overloading is permitted. No, sir. Overloading is not permitted. They are allowing only when the consignment is single indivisible unit. Now we are talking about 1 day, we are talking about 2 days, we are talking about 24. What is the meaning of date? Suppose I'm saying 2 days. Let's say I am generating the e-way bill on 1st of July. Let's say it is valid for 2 days. Then it will expire on 3rd July. Agreed. But at which time? I have generated at 11 a.m. Will it be valid at 10:59? Will it be valid at 11 or will it be valid at any other time? The meaning of relevant date is being given that midnight of the day immediately following the date of generation of e-way bill. So it means it is remain valid till the midnight of 3rd July. Till the midnight of 3rd July. Each day shall be counted as a period expiring at midnight. So one day means 2nd July ka midnight. Second day means 3rd July ka midnight. So it will remain valid till the midnight. So we are not reading the example. ODC cargo, over-dimensional cargo means a cargo carrying single indivisible unit which exceed the dimensional limit prescribed in the motor vehicle rules. Can validity be extended? If validity expire, the goods are not supposed to be moved. See, after expiring, you cannot move the goods. In general, the validity cannot be extended. However, it can be extended by the commissioner for certain category of the goods, or it can be extended by the transporter in exceptional circumstances, like there is some, I can say during the COVID, certain area are not allowed to be routed, or there is a strike, or there is any other genuine reason, or there is a flood, there is a extra rain, any reason, then he can put the reason and extend the validity period. Acceptance of e-way bill. When supplier is generating the e-way bill, then it will part has been registered. See, if the e-way bill has been generated by one party, another party can accept or reject. The time limit is 72 hours. The details of the e-way bill generated shall be made available to the supplier if registered, where the information the party has been added by the another party, either recipient or transporter. Or the details of the e-way bill generated will be made available to the recipient if supplier is generating the party or transporter is generating the party. See, in case the person to whom the information in the party is made available. So you are generating the e-way bill and the goods are being moved to me. So I can reject. What is the time limit? 72 hours of the details being made available on the common portal or delivery, whichever is earlier. If e-way bill is generated in one state, it is valid in another state. Correct? So now this is important. This is rule 138, sub rule 14. Situation where e-way bill is not required to be generated. But wait, I think one point is missed. Rule 138, sub rule 7. See, in the e-way bill topic, till now, only one provision is there which is not yet effective till date. Rule 138, sub rule 7. That rule 138, sub rule 7 is not yet effective till date. What is the rule 138.7 and why it is not effective? We'll discuss. See, rule 138.7 says that where the consignor or the consignee has not generated the e-way bill. Let's say Mr. A has reached to the transporter and value of the goods is only 1,000. Value of the goods is only 1,000. Whether Mr. A is required to generate the e-way bill? Answer is no. Similarly, Mr. B has also reached the customer with the value of the goods 1,000. Whether B will generate the e-way bill? Obviously, no, sir. Now think about the total consignment is 51. Total consignment is 51 reached to the transporter and he is carrying, the transporter is carrying in the same conveyance. Single consignment does not exceed 50, but consolidated it is exceeding 50. Then they are saying rule 138 sub rule 7 is saying it is the responsibility of the transporter to generate the e-way bill. It is the responsibility of the transporter to generate the e-way bill. This sub rule is not yet effective. Rule 138 contains the sub rule 7, but only this part is not yet effective. Why it is not yet effective? Because it will increase the workload of the transporter. It will increase the workload of the transporter, so which is normally not acceptable because they are not so much educated or they are not so much habitual to do the compliances burden, to handle the compliances burden. So that is the reason this 138.7 is not yet effective. In every case of the natural calamity accident under the service extension is for 8 hours. No, not yet. So they are saying before 8 hours, the validity has to be extended. Before 8 hours, the validity has to be extended. You can extend by 1 day, you can extend by 2 days. Because extension would be for 24 hours only, na? 1 day. Suppose tomorrow is going to be expired, so you need to extend, so it will be next day. Again, the day would be counted till the midnight. Clear it is? I think this question is important, that 138.7 is not yet made effective. Now, the relaxation part, that in which case the e-way bill is not required. In which case the e-way bill is not required. Where the goods being transported are given below. Where the goods are transported are given below. This is rule 138, sub-rule 14. Sub-rule 14 talks about the relaxation from generation of e-way bill. Suppose the item are these 8. What is that item? LPG gas, kerosene, postal baggage, natural or culture pearl, or jewelry or goldsmith, currency, used personal and household effect, oral and oral word, etc. If these items are being transported irrespective of any value, there is no requirement of e-way bill. Sakti, 138.7 is saying individual consignment may not exceed the 50,000, but consolidated value is exceeding 50,000 in one conveyance, then they are saying it is the responsibility of the transporter to generate the part A plus part B both. It is the responsibility of the transporter, because single consignment value A has reached the transporter by taking the goods of rupees 1,000. You will not say to A that kindly generate the e-way bill, because it is more than 50,000 applicable. So single consignment, it is not applicable, but if it is doing the consolidation, it become more than 50,000. In that case, e-way bill would be the responsibility of the transporter. And because it is creating the workload of the transporter, in my view, this is one of the major reasons that why this sub-rule is not yet effective. Kindly confirm. Is it okay? Next, where the goods are being transported in the non-motorized conveyance. Means, suppose you are, Mr. A is moving the goods to Mr. B by cycle rickshaw. There is no motor. Or by cart, bull cart, or by labor. Labor also delivering the goods. Na? So in that case, if the motor is not being used for moving the goods, irrespective of location, suppose it is moving from one state to the another state, there is no restriction. If the motor is not used, then not required e-way bill at all. Next, if the goods are being transported from the custom port, airport, air cargo complex, and land custom station to inland ICD or container freight station for the clearance by the custom. So within the custom area, so one has delivered the goods, then the goods will be moved to the ICD. Then their movement is there. So for that moment, no e-way bill is required. I told you 138.14D. Will electronic vehicle be motor vehicle? Yes. Bharat. Where the goods are being transferred, in respect of the movement of the goods within such area as notified in 138.14D of the state, in that particular state or union territory. Like I was giving the example that Bihar earlier was saying 2 lakh, now they are saying 1 lakh. That for 1 lakh, there is no movement for 1 lakh of the movement of the goods, there is no e-way bill required. So in that case, CGST rule is saying 50,000, but whether intrastate movement, there can be the different rule. Answer is yes. Why yes? Because of this clause. Like I'm giving the example Delhi, I have given the example of Rajasthan, I have given the example of Gujarat. These are different provision for intrastate movement of goods. For e-way bill, there is a different provision. Is it possible? Answer is yes. Why it is possible? Because of the CGST rule, sub-rule 14 clause D is giving the permission to the state, where the goods other than de-oiled cake being transported are exempt from tax. See, the list of the exempted goods does not require the e-way bill except one item, that is de-oiled cake. Again, if alcoholic liquor for human consumption or 5 specified petroleum product, petrol, HSD, motor freight, natural gas, ATF, aviation turbine fuel are being moved then there is no requirement of e-way bill. Schedule 3 item, there is no requirement of e-way bill. Again, when the goods are being transported under custom mode from now earlier was from custom port to ICD. Now from ICD to the custom port, vice versa. Correct? No, no e-way bill is required. Where the goods are being transported are transit cargo from or to Nepal, Bhutan. What is the transit cargo? See, transit cargo means suppose a landlocked country, let's say goods are being sold by Pakistan to Nepal. Hypothetical, I'm taking the example. So just to explain the meaning of transit cargo. So the goods is starting from Pakistan by road and it is going to Nepal by road. India is not the origin, not the destination. It is only being used as a transportation country. So this cargo for India is a transit cargo. For India, it is only the transit cargo. So if there is a transit cargo which is moving from India, from landlocked country to landlocked country, but ultimate destination is Nepal or Bhutan, either it is destination or it is origin. In that case, because Nepal and Bhutan, we are having the very friendly relation. So they are saying, if transit cargo are moving for Nepal and Bhutan, we not require e-way bill. That is the meaning of transit cargo. Again, for security purpose, they are relaxing two movement here. One is CSD to the unitron canteen in case of the defense, and second is nuclear power, heavy water and nuclear fuel by the Department of Atomic Energy to the Nuclear Power Corporation. They are relaxing this movement. If Ministry of the Defense, again for security purpose, they are relaxing. If the government are moving the goods by rail, relaxed. If the empty cargo, so when I'm sending the goods to you, so I have generated the e-way bill. Now only empty cargo coming. Let's say empty cargo are also having the worth more than 50,000. Whether e-way bill required, not required. There is a one clause for 20 kilometer. What is that? See, I have packed my material, but before generating the invoice, I need the weight of that materials. So for that purpose, truck is moved to the way bridge for payment purpose. So if the distance is from your location, from your factory to the way bridge is 20 kilometer, supported by delivery challan as per the rule 55, supported by delivery challan as per the rule 55. In that case, if the distance is 20 kilometer, not required. If transport from Pakistan to China, will it be the same stuff? No, relaxation is only for the Nepal and Bhutan. If there is no Nepal and Bhutan, then they will ask the transportation. They will ask the e-way bill. It is relaxed only to the Nepal and Bhutan. Next is where empty cylinder for packing of the LPG gas are being moved from region other than supply. That is okay. Now, rule 138 is completed. 138A, 138B, C, D, and E. E is very important. And there is certain amendment in E that we will discuss. So we are moving to the 138A. Document and device to be carried by the person in charge of a conveyance. So driver, let's say 20 kilometer e-way bill required. See, Rupesh, see, from your factory to way bridge, if it is up to 20 kilometer, up to the distance of 20 kilometer, then e-way bill not required. Only delivery challan. Rule 55 is talking about the delivery challan. So you prepare the delivery challan, move the truck on the basis of the delivery challan without the e-way bill. Purpose should be your payment. So when way bridge is you have the goods is reached its weight, then the goods are coming back to your factory. Again, you can take the goods back to your factory without any e-way bill. Whatever the value, you are talking about the value, whatever the value is, no problem. So till 20 kilometer, e-way bill is not required. Absolutely correct. If it is exceeding 20 kilometer, see 20 kilometer relaxation given for which distance. You cannot say that 20 kilometer e-way bill not required. E-way bill is required even for 1 kilometer. Purpose C, from your location to the way bridge for the purpose of the payment, and then the goods should come back within your factory. That is the purpose of movement. Rupesh, I hope it is clear. See, normally suppose I'm sending the goods from my location to my Customer distance is only, let's say, 500 meter, only 1 kilometer, then required e-way bill if there is a movement by motorized vehicle. 138A talking about the invoice or bill of supply or delivery challan as the case may be. A copy of e-way bill in physical form, e-way bill number in electronic form, or mapped to the RFID device. What is the full form of the RFID? Radio Frequency Identification Device. So embedded on the conveyance, commissioner can notify that yes, for certain category of the conveyance, for certain category of the transporter, the RFID is mandatory. So yet, as of now, it is not yet applicable for all the state. But in that case, I can say what document should be invoice or bill of supply or delivery challan plus copy of e-way bill either in the physical or in the e-way bill number in the electronic form or mapped to the RFID devices. If delivery challan is issued, then only available 20 kilometers. You are talking about to the payment, to the way bridge. Am I right? To the way bridge I'm talking about. Only to the way bridge. You not understood this 20 kilometer as a normal sentence or normal clause. It is talking about you require the payment. You are sending the goods to the way bridge. Not require e-way bill if distance is 20 kilometer up to 20 kilometers supported by the delivery challan. That's it. Then correct. Then Madhav, absolutely correct. Carrying e-way bill number in electronic form implies that person in charge of the conveyance can merely quote the e-way bill number to the proper tax officer. Tax officer will do all the requisite verification based on that number. Invoice reference number in lieu of the tax invoice. So if e-invoice is applicable, then QR code having embedded IRN may be produced electronically for verification. In that case, the physical copy of the tax invoice is not required. In such case, the registered person will not have to upload the information of part A, and the same shall be auto. See, if you have, see what is the benefit of e-invoice. So you have generated the e-invoicing, then all the information would be available in the e-way bill. Part A would be pre-filled. Part A would be pre-filled. See, in the time to come, what happened? See, everything would be automized. Generate the e-invoice, detail will come in the e-way bill, part A. From e-way bill, the detail will come in the GSTR1. From the GSTR1, detail will go to the GSTR3B. So everything is pre-filled. Only you just need to confirm that whatever the data are correct or not correct. That's it. Same shall be auto-populated by the common portal on the basis of the information furnished in the prescribed manner. That's okay. Document in lieu of e-way bill where circumstances so warrant, commissioner by notification require the PIC to carry the following document instead of the e-way bill. Tax invoice or bill of supply or bill of entry or delivery challan where the goods are transported for reason other than by way of the supply. So commissioner has the power. In certain circumstances, he can issue the notification and relax the requirement of e-way bill. See, that is not fixed. That is case to case basis. Might be in the COVID period, they have relaxed for some time period. Verification of the document and conveyance. Now 138B is saying commissioner or any officer, goods value, any value, rupees, any value. Commissioner or any officer empowered by him in this behalf may authorize the proper officer to intercept any conveyance. For what purpose? To verify the e-way bill in the physical or electronic for inter or intra. Commissioner is responsible to get the RFID reader installed at place where the verification is required to be carried out, and verification of the movement shall be done through such devices, such device reader where the e-way bill has been mapped with said devices. Physical verification of the conveyance shall be carried out by the proper officer as authorized. However, on receipt of the specific information of tax evasion, the physical verification can also be carried out by any other officer after obtaining the necessary approval. Rule 138C is talking about inspection and verification of the goods. What we have discussed in the 138B, verification of the document and conveyance. Now they are saying inspection and verification of the goods. Summary report, they are talking about EWB 03, part A and part B. Part Summary report of every inspection of the goods in transit shall be recorded online by the proper officer in Part A within 24 hours. And they have to generate the Part B, complete the Part B within 3 days of the inspection. The 3 days can be extended again with the permission of commissioner. It can be extended, not exceeding 3 more days. So maximum he can get the time of 6 days. The period of the 24 hours, as the case may be, 3 days shall be counted from the midnight. That is okay. Fine. 138D, facility for uploading the information regarding the detention of the vehicle. If vehicle has been intercepted or detained for a more than 30 minutes, then transporter can upload the same on the common portal. Now the last is 138E, and that is very, very important. Last is 138E, and it is very important. Why? Because there is certain changes in the 138E. Try to understand. Blocking of e-way bill generation facility means the 138E is talking about that e-way bill can be blocked. E-way bill generation facility can be blocked. Blocking of e-way bill generation facility means disabling the taxpayer from generating the e-way bill. A user will not be able to generate the e-way bill for a GSTIN if said GST number is not eligible as per the rule 138E. Now, the GST number of the such blocked taxpayer cannot be used to generate the e-way bill. Now, important, either as a consignor or as a consignee. It means neither I can sell the goods nor I can purchase the goods. See, suppose Mr. A is supplying the goods to Mr. B. If Mr. A is defaulter, we'll discuss which default. Suppose he is defaulter, then A cannot generate the e-way bill. Suppose B is defaulter and A is regular. A also cannot put the GST number of the B. See, this part is important. Neither you can purchase the goods nor you can sell the goods. To whom? Either supplier or recipient, anyone who has made the default. That was a problem. What was the problem? See, the trade is requesting to the GST council that kindly allow me to sell the goods. If I am okay, if I am regular compliance person, then kindly allow me. Kindly allow me the sale now. At least he's purchasing the goods. That is okay. No problem. If you are blocking the e-way bill generation facility on the sale, that is okay. But at least kindly allow the regular taxpayer, compliant taxpayer to sell the goods to non-compliant person. Let's read the amendment. Rule 138 contains the provision pertaining to the blocking of e-way bill, that is disabling the generation of e-way bill. Earlier, a user was not able to generate the e-way bill for the GSTN if the said GSTN was not eligible as per the rule 138E. It implies that GSTIN of such blocked taxpayer could not be used to generate the e-way bill neither as a supplier nor as a recipient. Such rule has been amended to relax the restriction. Blocking of GSTIN for e-way bill generation could only be for the defaulting supplier and not the defaulting buyer or the transporter. It means supplier is A, customer is B. Supplier is A, customer is B, and B is defaulter. Can A generate the e-way bill on the moment of this supply? Answer is yes, he can generate the e-way bill. Now, suppose B is selling the goods to Mr. C. Can B generate the e-way bill? Answer is no. Assuming B is the defaulting person. B is the defaulting registered person. Which default? We will discuss the category of the default in the rule 138E. Said rule has been amended to relax. Yes, blocking of the GSTN will be for the defaulting supplier and not for the defaulting recipient. That is important. Or the transporter. Suspended GSTN cannot be generated e-way bill as a supplier. However, the suspended GSTN can get the e-way bill generated either as a recipient or as a transporter. In other words, e-way bill generation facility is blocked only in respect of any outward movement of the goods who is not eligible for the e-way bill as per 138. E-way bill can be generated in respect of the inward movement of the goods. What are the default? As per Rule 138E, no person including consignor, consignee, transport, or e-commerce operator company shall not be allowed to furnish the information in the Part A of EWB01 in respect of following registered person. Now I can say this you can delete. It is now to be understood after considering the amendment. Okay, whether as acting as a supplier. The person paying the tax under composition scheme has not furnished the statement for payment of the self-assessed tax, that is CMP 08. That is CMP 08 for 2 consecutive quarters. A person paying the tax under regular scheme has not furnished the return for consecutive 2 tax period. Correct? Either monthly or quarter. A person paying the tax under regular has not furnished the GSTR1 for the 2 month or 2 quarter as the case may be. A person whose registration has been suspended according to the Rule 21A in the GST registration chapter, we have discussed the provision of suspension. However, Commissioner may, on the receipt of any application from a registered person in prescribed form on sufficient cause being shown for reason to be recorded in writing by order in prescribed form, allow the furnishing in the Part A of AWB01 subject to the condition and restriction. So, Commissioner, jurisdictional commissioner has the power. An order rejecting said request shall not be passed without giving the opportunity of being heard. See, one thing is confirmed that whenever there is a rejection in any request order, the principle of natural justice has to be followed. Means the person has to be heard. Opportunity to being heard has to be given. The permission granted or rejected by the commissioner shall be deemed to be the SGSTC. It may be noted that the expression transported by railway or transported of goods by railway, transported of goods by rail, and the movement of the goods by rail used in the provision discussed above does not include case where leasing of the parcel space by the railway takes place. So only they are providing the leasing of the parcel space by the railway, that will not include. And person in charge of the conveyance shall carry the copy of the tax invoice or the bill of the supply issued in accordance with Rule 46, 46A, 49, not required to carry invoice under B0. Not required to carry an e-way bill under B0. So Rule 55A, again, government has the power to notify the case. So by this, we have completed the e-way bill chapter. Now, please allow me. I have 10 or 9 or 8 or 9 questions. We'll solve this question first, and then we'll take your any doubt. If you have any doubt, you are requested to ask the question. In case of any doubt, you are requested to ask the question. From my side, this chapter is completed, but let's move to the revision. So kindly answer the question number 1. Kindly answer the question number 1. What is the time period within which the e-way bill can be cancelled? 15 days, 24 hours, 72 hours, or cannot cancel? What is the time period within which e-way bill can be cancelled? What is the time period within which e-way bill can be cancelled? Is it 15 days? Is it 24 hours? Is it 72 hours, or it cannot be cancelled? The answer is right. 24 hours can be cancelled within 24 hours. In which case, e-way bill is not required. Movement by own car, movement of the goods from business place to the transporter 50 km and within the state. Interstate job worker where the value of the goods is less than 50,000. From business place to the way bridge having the distance 20 km and supported by delivery challan. In which case, e-way bill is not required. First, second, third, fourth. Question number 2. Kindly give the answer. Question number 2. Kindly give the answer. Question number 2. Kindly give the answer in which case the e-way bill is not required. Movement by own car. खुद की कार से ले जा रहा हूं मैं. Movement of the goods from BP to the transporter distance 50 km and within the state. Interstate job worker where value of the goods is less than 50,000, and from business place to the Weber is having the distance 20 kilometers supported by delivery charge. Question 2 is good. Question 2 is really good. एक दो तीन चार पांच. So majority are with option number 4 and one participant. Fine. This question to be discussed. See, if I am using my own car or hired or public, I have to generate the e-way bill. You remember that particular point which I have highlighted, own car. Even if I am using my own conveyance, I have to generate the e-way bill if the value exceeds 50,000 and all other conditions. Movement of the goods from business place to the transporter distance 50 kilometers within the state, that is okay. But whether e-way bill is not required? No, sir. Only part B has been relaxed, but part A is required. So therefore, we can say it is also not the correct answer. Interstate job worker where value of the goods is less than 50,000, mandatory e-way bill, sir. It is not relaxed. So the right answer is 4. From business place to the way bridge, 20 kilometers and supported by the delivery charge, and that's it. 4th option. Question number 3. Let's see. If the movement of the goods is from business place to the transporter place, then which statement is correct? Only part is required where the distance is 50 kilometers and movement are within the state. E-way bill is not required. Only part is required where the distance is 20 kilometers. State are saying only part is required where the distance is 50 kilometers and the movement are from one state to the another state. Which option is correct? Is the question number 3. Great, yes, great. Question number 3. Question number 3. Again, important question. Question 3. Kindly give the answer. Great. The right answer is first option. Only part is required where the distance. Only part is required. Only part is required where the distance is 50 kilometers and movement are within the state. Absolutely correct answer. What is the validity period of e-way bill in case of the over-dimensional cargo and distance is 102 kilometers? What is the validity period of the e-way bill in case of the ODC cargo and the distance is 102 kilometers? In case of the over-dimensional cargo, you remember the validity period is 20 kilometers one day. Other than ODC, the validity is 200 kilometers one day. If it is the ODC cargo, then validity is 20 kilometers one day. So I can say 6 days would be the validity period. Right answer is 6 days. Bharat, is it audible? Bharat, is it audible? Question number 5. Which statement is correct of e-way bill and e-invoice? Now I have clubbed both and then you need to give the answer. Both cannot be optionally generated. E-way bill can be, sorry. I am not audible. Kindly confirm in the chat. Am I not audible? Am I not audible? Bharat, kindly confirm it. Kindly check at your end. Fine, thank you. So, which statement is correct in case of the e-way bill and e-invoice? Which statement is correct in case of the e-way bill and e-invoice? Both optionally cannot be generated. Both can be cancelled in 24 hours. Means e-way bill can be cancelled in 24 and e-invoice cannot be cancelled. Both can be cancelled or both can be modified. So what is the correct preposition in both the cases? Kindly give me the correct answer. Question number 5. This is question number 5. Very important question, and I have discussed also. This question. Correct, Karthik? डिस्कस किया था ना मैंने क्लास में ये. फिर भी आप करेक्ट आंसर नहीं दे रहे हो. E-way bill cannot be generated. Sorry, e-invoicing optionally not allowed. E-way bill allowed. So option number 1 is not correct. Okay. Let's move to the another. E-way bill can be cancelled in 24 hours and even e-invoice can also be cancelled in 24 hours. So it is not correct. It is correct and can be modified. Sir, neither e-way bill nor e-invoice can be modified. So this is also not correct. So the right answer is option 3. The right answer is option 3. Is it okay? We can cancel the e-invoice also. We can cancel the e-way bill also within 24 hours. Similar feature for e-way bill and e-invoice. Fine. Next question. In case of the, so this is not, I have not discussed, but always remember, cannot likha, एक second. E-way bill cannot be cancelled, na? Sorry. But see, I am saying e-way bill cannot be cancelled. That is okay. But sorry, e-invoice cannot be cancelled. But can e-way bill be cancelled within 24 hours? That is answer yes. Or e-invoice cannot be cancelled? No, it can be cancelled. कार्तिक, दोनों को हम कैंसिल कर सकते हैं 24 आवर्स में. दोनों को कैंसिल कर सकते हैं 24 आवर्स में. ऑप्शन 2 आई एम सेइंग दैट कैन नॉट बी कैंसिल. So I hope it is okay, right? Import, I think I have not given, I have not discussed, but always remember in case of the import to the goods, they are saying the document would be bill of entry on which you will generate the e-way bill. It is not written in the notes, or I have skipped also. But always remember, in case of the import of the goods, the bill of entry would be used. Earlier, we were allowed to use the delivery challan, but now they are saying only e-bill of entry would be used in case of the import of the goods to make the e-way bill. Now, read the question and give the answer. Read the question and give the answer. Mr. A from Mumbai has given the order to Mr. B of Delhi for directly sending the goods to Mr. C at Delhi. Which category I will use to generate the e-way bill? Which category I will use to generate the e-way bill? We have discussed one model. Which category? So I have told you that you will change to this category, then you will be able to edit the address. You will be able to edit the address of ultimate location where the goods are going. We have used one technical term, one model. Yes. Technically, नाम क्या है उस मॉडल का? क्या नाम है? What is the name of the technically name of that particular concept is? What is the name of the concept which we will use so that we can change the address of the recipient? We can put the C's address instead of A address. That model is called as bill to ship to. That model is called as bill to ship to. Now, this question is with respect to ITC chapter. Now, if anyone can give the answer, that is really appreciable. Really appreciable. I am asking the question interlinking with the ITC chapter. Please confirm whether A is eligible to take the ITC without being actually received the goods. So, along with the reason, you need to give the answer. What is the reason? Give me the reason that without actually receiving the goods, Raghavan can avail the ITC. Can you quote some reference of the provision of the section 16, 17, 18 or ITC chapter? Can you quote any provision of the ITC chapter? My God, great. Absolutely correct. It is given in the explanation 1 to 16 subsection 2 clause B. It is given in the explanation in the 16 subsection 2 clause B that in the following case it will be deemed to be received. In case of the bill to ship to model of goods or services, the billing party will be considered as deemed receipt and therefore Mr. A would be entitled to take the ITC. Excellent. Appreciable to all the participants. मजा आ गया सच में. Mr. A has not filled the return for 2 consecutive tax periods. Now he like to purchase the goods from Mr. B of Delhi. Now Mr. A is a defaulter party. Can Mr. B able to generate the e-way bill by using the GST number of the Mr. A who is defaulter? Yes or no? This is recent amendment. Very important. Is it possible? No problem, Pooja. If you not remember, no problem. Section ka number is not too much important. If concept is clear, if you can give the reasoning, that is also okay. So you cannot mention, suppose you cannot mention that explanation 1 to 16 subsection 2 clause B, that is okay. But if you can dictate the reasoning, that is mandatory. Very important question we have discussed in the amendment. Kindly give the correct answer for question 7. Requesting all the participants, I am expecting from everyone the correct answer for this question. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. It is inward transaction for Mr. A. Is it outward supply for Mr. A or is it inward supply of Mr. A? Answer is inward supply. Who is defaulter? B is defaulter or A is defaulter? A is defaulter and this transaction is outward or inward? Inward. For inward, there is no problem. E-way bill can be generated. Only problem for outward supply, defaulter cannot generate the e-way bill. The answer would be yes, can be generated. B, who is a compliance party, can generate the e-way bill for Mr. A because Mr. A is the recipient who is the defaulter. After the amendment, which is applicable for November 22 exams, considering the amendment, answer is yes, e-way bill can be generated for Mr. A who is defaulter. 3 consecutive months. Sneha, that was in case of not 3. See, if you are saying consecutive month, that is wrong. See, 3 months was not there. 3 quarter. See, 2 tax period, 2 quarter. Whether we have discussed 3, I don't think so. Sneha, एक बार check करना. Consecutive tax, see, in case of the CMP 08, composition dealer, 2 tax period. Again, for regular taxpayer, the tax return is not filed. Again, there was 2 months. And for GSTR1 also, there was 2 months. Just check. Ravi is sending the goods to Jaipur to 2 different customers at same location through same transporter and same vehicle. Whether Ravi can generate the consolidated e-way bill in form EWG. Rupees, even with GSTIN, it is possible. You are putting Mr. A defaulter GSTI number in the recipient column. There is no problem. Ravi is sending the goods to the Jaipur to two different customers at same location. Everything is same. Can he generate the consolidated e-way bill? Can he generate the consolidated e-way bill? Expecting the answer from everyone, and that is correct answer. That should be the correct answer. Whether Ravi can generate the consolidated e-way bill in EWB02. Can Ravi generate the consolidated e-way bill? Answer is no. Absolutely correct, Hitesh. That the consolidated e-way bill is only with respect to part B, and that is also in the hand of the transporter. So in this case, Ravi has to generate the two separate e-way bill because there are two documents. He cannot have the option to make the single e-way bill. Everyone is clear? Kindly confirm. Please confirm whether everyone is clear. Everyone is clear? Kindly confirm. So Rupesh, you are giving the answer or is it not clear? So let me repeat again. See, CWB02 is the option in the hand of the transporter. So if the transporter receives the multiple e-way bill EWB01, either he has the option to add the part B in every document, which is not possible, or let's say I can say time consuming. So instead of adding the part B vehicle number in every individual EWB01 part A, he can do the consolidation with respect to the part B. He can put the vehicle number only once and can select all the part A which are going through same converts. Now, this is the last discussion. Let me read this provision once again. Amendment. I'm talking about the amendment. Clarification in respect to the applicability of the dynamic QR code. All B2C invoice issued by the registered person whose aggregate turnover in any of the preceding financial year starting from 17-18 exceed 500 crore are mandatorily required to have the dynamic QR code from December 1, 2020. That is okay. In this regard, the two circular has been issued, clarified. What is being clarified? Dynamic QR code is required to be provided on an invoice issued to a person who obtained the UIN. Any person, see, any person who has obtained the UIN is not a registered person, correct? We have discussed in the registration chapter that UIN is not a registered person as per the definition of the registered person. Therefore, any invoice issued to the UIN will be considered as B2C supply and shall be required to be compliant with dynamic QR code. Next, in case where an invoice is issued to the recipient located outside India export for supply the service for which the place of the supply is in India, so that transaction cannot be considered as export. So for the export, there is a provision that the place of the supply should also be out of India. In this particular point, we are talking about the place of the supply is in India as per the provision of IGST. So therefore, it is not export. And the payment is received in the convertible foreign currency or Indian rupees wherever permitted by RBI. In that case, the such invoice may be issued without dynamic QR code. Why? As such dynamic QR code cannot be used for the recipient located out of India for making the payment to the supplier. So they are saying if customer is located out of India, then in that case, you cannot use the dynamic QR code. They have given the relaxation. This amendment we have discussed 138E, and this amendment we have discussed invoice not applicable to the certain authorities, and this 20 crore wala part we will discuss. So from my side, today class is completed and e-way bill chapter is also completed. So we have completed the chapter number 8. From Monday, we will start new chapter. Any question you can ask, otherwise we can complete our class. We can wind up our class. Any question? I'm waiting for a question. For 2 minutes I will wait. Otherwise we can complete for that. Question. Karthik, doubt one. Since the transporter are not able to ascertain their actual supplies beforehand. Okay. And while someone has asked one more question was pertaining to the previous chapter. I think someone has asked the question with respect to, I'm not remembering the name. Shreya. Great. We'll discuss. So first, let me take the question of Karthik, then we'll come to the question of Shreya. Since the supplier are not able to ascertain their actual supplies beforehand, and while ascertaining the tax liability in advance, is it a mandatory requirement for registration as a casual taxable person? The supplier is not able to register as a casual taxable person. Such goods are also carried within the same state for the purpose of supply. Please explain this word 8.44. Let me open that particular, that would be better. So I can explain actually. Supplier of jewelry who are registered in one state may have to visit other state and need to carry the goods along with approval. In such case, if the jewelry is approved by the buyer, then the supplier issues the tax notice only. Which clause you are talking about? Which para you are talking about? Kindly refer. Kindly let me know. 8.44. Let me see. I'm on 8.44. मुझे आप एग्जैक्ट बता दीजिए कौन सा पैरा नंबर मुझे रेफर करना है. Second. Doubt to any example for this second paragraph. Since the supplier are not able to ascertain their actual supplies beforehand, and while ascertainment of the tax liability in advance is a mandatory requirement for registration, the supplier is not able to register. Such goods are also carried within the same state. Okay. See, so you are not clear. You are not clear on this point, is it? In view of the relevant provision of the Rule 55, it is clarified that goods which are taken for supply on the approval basis can be moved from the place of the business of the registered supplier to the another place within the same state or to a place outside the state on a delivery channel along with the e-way bill wherever applicable, and the invoice may be issued at a later date. For this purpose, the person carrying the goods for supply carries the invoice book with him such that circulate. And likewise, in case where the artist supply artwork in the different district other than state in which they are registered as a taxable person. If the artwork is selected by the buyer, then the supplier issue the tax invoice only at the time of supply. It's clarified that artwork for supply and approval basis can be moved on the basis of the challan to the another place within the same state to a place outside that state on a delivery challan along with e-way bill wherever applicable. See, the only things which I could just now able to understand and give the reply, that if suppose goods may be moved within the state from the state of the registration to the another state for supply on approval basis, and artwork may be sent by artistic for exhibition on the delivery challan along with the e-way bill wherever applicable. So let me I see. So what is your question? So they are saying that you are allowed to transfer, you are allowed to use the delivery challan. That's it. Nothing special. Now. See, they have given the reference of circular 10, then they have given the reference of circular 22. I think this is circular 22. No? I'm not sure. Okay. So they are saying that you can use the delivery challan since the supplier are not able to ascertain their actual supply. So that is the correct sentence. Now. See, if I like to make a taxable supply from another state, then I have to register. I have the option of casual taxable person category, correct? So I have to take registration in that state, and then only I can make a taxable supplies. So I have to estimate something. But parallelly, there is a concept of sales on approval basis. Suppose I am registered in a state, and from where I am making the supply to another state. So you remember we have discussed 31 subsection 7. 31 subsection 7, which talks about that you can sell on approval within 6 months, you can generate the tax invoice. So that concept they have borrowed in this case of in this example. सीटीपी वाला पॉइंट सिर्फ ये कह रहे हैं कि भाई सीटीपी में रजिस्ट्रेशन लेने के लिए उसको कुछ लाइव कुछ वैल्यू तो दिखानी पड़ेगी ना. He has to declare certain value, but that sales is not at all sure. It may be returned. It may be accepted after a certain period of the time. So they are saying, yes, you can supply the goods on the basis of the delivery challan. Which provision is not yet enforced with respect to the Prabhas, that is not with respect to the consolidated e-way. That is only with respect to the 138 sub-rule 7. Nothing to do with consolidated e-way. They are saying multiple consignment is there. Single individual consignment less than 50. But consolidated consignment carrying in a single conveyance, that is more than 50. Total, if I will put in a single truck all the consignment, then my total value exceeds 50. Then they are saying it is the responsibility of the transporter to generate the e-way bill. So that provision is not yet made applicable. Mahadev, at the time of the supply or 6 months, whichever is earlier, if I go by 31/7. CTP वाला point सिर्फ add किया है, since the supplier are not able to ascertain their actual supplies beforehand and while ascertaining. I think they only quoted that sentence of CTP requirement. That's it. We'll discuss further in the further class also. If time permit, I will read that circular and we'll discuss further also. Shreya, 31(3) is written that if the goods is less than 200, tax invoice may not be issued. Then in that case, how tax compliance will be done? See, may not be issued. What does it mean? Also, we have discussed the rule 46 and correct. May not be issued means individual invoice is not required. Shreya, individual invoice is not required. Then you can do the consolidation at the end of the day for all such transactions. And also you have talked about ITC point also. In the last initial, you have talked about ITC part. But ITC would not be the problem because the transaction has to be the B2C. Transaction has to be the B2C. Or if you're talking about subsection 3, 31 subsection 3, clause A, they are talking about the taxable. Otherwise, they are talking about the bill of supply or in case of the composition. So there will be no tax component. So ITC is not a problem. And also the recipient should be unregistered. Then only the 200 ka provision would be applicable. But they are not saying invoice not at all required. Consolidated invoice you can issue at the end of the day by combining all such transactions where individual value is less than 200. Any example for this and the reason? Let me discuss further. We'll discuss. Let me take the printout of the entire circular. We'll read and then further discuss if the time permits. Proviso to 34 subsection 2, provided that no reduction that incidence the tax 34(2), provided that no reduction in the output tax liability shall be permitted if the incidence of the tax and interest on such price passed on. Okay, see, that is the concept. For example, let's say Karthik, I have supplied the goods to you. Let me take the value also. The value of the goods is 1 lakh and the tax rate is 18%, 1,18,000. I have issued the tax message. Now you have returned the goods to me. If I am saying, you have returned the goods. Normal process, what I will say, according to section 34 subsection 2, I will issue the credit note. Okay. Will it be with GST or without GST? I will just check the time period. If it is with September, I will issue with GST. Matter close. But that is one more requirement. So, Karthik, kindly confirm. If I issue the credit note by charging the GST, I will reduce my tax liability. Na? I will reduce my tax liability. Correct? Confirm. Quickly confirm. I will reduce my future tax liability. Because you will reverse the ITC, I will reverse my future tax liability. in another way. So in another way, just to understand the same in the layman language, I can say I am taking the tax back from the government. See, I'm reducing my liability or taking the refund from the government. Both in a way are same. Now I'm saying if I am reducing the tax liability, then corresponding party has to reverse the ITC. This particular part which you have quoted, if incidence of the tax and interest has been passed on to the another person, it means you have collected the tax and now you are saying, now let's say, now I'm changing the example. Karthik, I'm changing the example. Now I'm saying that you return the goods, okay, but I will not give you the tax return. I will give you the benefit of rupees 1 lakh only. I can give the credit of the 1 lakh. I will not reduce my tax liability. If I'm using this sentence, meaning thereby I have collected the tax and incidence. Who has bear the tax? You. You have bear the tax. In that case, I cannot issue the credit note by charging the GST. That is the part. So if I have collected the tax and not borne by me, I have collected from any other person. It means incidence has been passed to the another party. In that case, government will not give the benefit in the reduction of the tax liability to me. That's the. I hope it is clear. Same things we are using in the refund chapter. So that we will discuss in the CA final. Same concept. Incidence of the tax has been passed to the another party. From my side, it's completed. You can ask the counter question if you have. Perfect. Sneha, Shreya, Saha. Thanks, sir. Now I understood. Great. Elena. Okay. Thank you very much. Good night to all of you. We'll meet on tomorrow with new chapter. Over to you, Ashok ji.